Hi players, it's Jello, and in today's video we're going to go through a Roll20 campaign that is already rolling and complete and look at some of those additional options I talked about earlier. In this campaign, this is what I call my landing page. This is the welcome, letting them know about the forums, each of the characters' current status. You can tell that some of them are injured. Zakir here is more than half dead. We've already had 2 deaths in our party, and this of course is on my GM overlay, so I can see it but my players don't. It's just a little reminder for me about some of my options. On the right, each time you log into your campaign, it does save your chat log, so if at any time you need to see what happened previously, you've got your full chat log. It's got all your whispers, everyone's roles, everything that was going on in your previous session. Also, here we have one of my players who is helping me out here. He has the option to ping if he wants. Notice he has a different color. His pings will be a different color. I've also enabled my macro bar here to show you some of those options. Once you've set it up in the macro list, perception from the GM, something is amiss, please roll perception. I can tap that one button and it puts all that out. Something a GM will say often. There's also something like initiative. Mine says danger is upon you, please roll initiative. Once everyone has a turn, I have the additional thing, once rolled, add your roll to the order tracker. Let's give you an example. By selecting any token, you can add a turn, and they're added to the turn order. You simply click the number, hit enter. Once everyone has theirs, sort it, and you go turn by turn. An easy way to keep track of things. Also, with each of these players, we'll go into one, we have what's called his journal set up for this character. So it represents this character in the journal. It shows his nameplate. This is his hit points, his armor class, his initiative. These are all things we've set up in advance. He also has dark vision is 60 feet. And he doesn't have any auras, but he's set up to use some of his spell auras. How we set that up in the journal takes place up here in your 3rd tab as a GM, the journal tab. Now, I have a lot of names here. I have a lot of NPCs set up for this campaign, but each of the ones with the pictures is one of my player characters. Let's take a look at Shav again. Simply by clicking him, it brings up this, and this is editable by him. My notes, he's a Dampier gunslinger, and this is the picture he selected and we made into his token. He also has his character sheet that we selected when we created the campaign. This is built into Roll20, it saves automatically, and they're continually working on it to streamline the process. Each of these tabs helps to store different information about his character, just like a normal paper character sheet would. For example, his core has got his normal stats, his current HP, his initiative and speeds, his experience. If he wants to know about his defenses, his armor class, saves, they're all here in his character sheet. For his attributes and abilities, this tab, we've added some that we want to be platted on. So as he fills in his character sheet here, they will be automatically filled in here. So as he goes up in level and sets his new max HP, it'll automatically be put in here. And that reflects, because we've tied it to his token, it reflects automatically on his token. Now, most players can only see this. they're not able to edit their own unless you give them the power to. So you're able to give them the status conditions. Say they're slow, you give them a snail. Say they're web, you give them the net. Or they're stabbed and bleeding, you give them the red. However you want to do it, all of those options are available to you. Within each of your journal handouts, though, you have the ability to, in the edit window, you can drop in a photo for them. You can set their default token. You can add notes. These are all notes for my particular campaign. I select tags by where I find them in the campaign, who they can be controlled by, and who can see them. You can also edit lots of other things, but I digress. One of the other things I mentioned was handouts. Some of these handouts are really useful. For example, all I have to do is click on it and it pops up. Here's a handout I've selected. All I need to do is click this, show to players, and it immediately pops up on their screen as if that NPC or that loot that they picked up was shown to them. You can prepare these ahead of time, everything from maps to loot tables. This is another great thing. I've already set up several in my jukebox as background music. For example, my crowd, soft milling when they're walking through the marketplace or when they're trying to set up camp. They've got gentle crickets. All of these you can play with. You really can. We've got campfires, we've got everything. And you can set those to loop. You can set a background song to build a little suspense. Those are all available to you. One of the things that I didn't go over previously, because they are so labor intensive on your part, is decks. I've set up a critical hit deck and a critical fumble deck. And you can choose the different options on how they're shown and other things. But for me, they rolled that critical hit, and all of a sudden, they have tons of different options. Now, every DM is different, and you may or may not want that option, but I think having the option to set it in is a really nice addition by Roll20. You can also add rollable tables, but I don't recommend them. One of the other things that is built into the Roll20 system, aside from the settings I went over previously, is the ability to broadcast voice. You can set that to your webcam, to just your microphone, or you can use an external software like VoIP, like Skype. You can set whether you want to receive. They also have implemented a die roller system so that it shows the die rolling out across, but keep in mind that all of your players will not have the technical capacity to do that, and if they have an older computer or tablet, they may not want that overload of information. So this is I'll show you one more thing with our campaign here. Remember how we select here and then just drag? You're seeing this from the DM's view, but this was one of our encounters they just had. They were camping and they were ambushed by wolves around their campfire. You can see their line of sights. You can have this campfire give off a certain amount of light to control what they see. And of course, you can reflect how hurt they are so they can see the terrain. You don't have to go into every detail about where is this in relation to this. They can just pull out their ruler and see for themselves how far it is, how they can move in relation to their terrain. And I think that's one of the greatest things that Roll20 does, is it frees up the DM to just tell the story and facilitate their choices in the story to make it fun for everyone. Hope you have a great day and keep rolling 20s.